Greetings from Independence, Missouri at the Truman Library.
Nancy's been here before, but I have not. This is an impromptu visit.
Yes, it is. We're on our way out west to a wedding, and when you see the sign, you gotta stop, right?
We had no plans. We made no advance plans, so we're just gonna run in here and take a look at that. We're gonna take you guys along with us. Yep, as usual, Herky's back in the car, in the camper actually.
Yeah,
relaxing.
It's a beautiful 69 degrees
it's awesome.
Today.
We actually spent the night last night at a Cracker Barrel in our Runaway camper, and it worked out really great. So,
yes.
Hey, we're gonna run inside this museum and take a look. So what we're doing right now is we're waiting our turn in to go into kind of like an exhibit that begins the tour here. The movie, mm-hmm. Right. We don't want to join, although you can walk in, we don't want to join it mid-movie. So we're going to wait until it starts all over again. So it starts out with the challenge was Harry Truman fit to be president. There was a lot of people.
From vice to president.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that he was not cut out for that. He was an ordinary man, and not
a farmer.
A farmer, not a politician, and actually a struggling businessman. So, hey, we won't ramble on here, but yeah, as soon as it starts, we're going to run in there.
Mr. Roosevelt, Harry Truman was now the vice president-elect. In his first speech after his inauguration, Vice President Truman said,
"If American democracy is to survive, Germany and Japan must be defeated in battle, and thereby taught to respect the rights of other nations."
Service units of the Pacific Fleet are bombarding Iwo Jima.
Letters that Harry wrote to Bess, trying to convince her to marry him. Her family wanted him to become a successful businessman, but every time he tried, he failed. But so he was trying to convince her to marry him anyway. So we know the end. She did.
President Wilson declared war on Germany. At the time, Harry Truman was a 33-year-old farmer in Grandview, Missouri. Though too old to be drafted, he was determined to enlist. He left his mother and the farm in his sister's care, said goodbye to his girlfriend Bess, and drove to Kansas City, where he rejoined the National Guard. It was a decision that would change his life. He wrote Bess, "I wouldn't be left out of the greatest history-making epic the world has ever seen for all there is to live for." At a training camp in Oklahoma, Truman started a successful canteen with Eddie Jacobson, a man who would later become a business partner and lifelong friend. After 7 months in Oklahoma, Truman was sent to France for artillery training. Though he had only attended some college, he suddenly found himself taking advanced trigonometry and high-level engineering courses. "I've studied more and worked harder in the last 3 weeks than I ever did before in my life," Harry wrote Bess. He was soon promoted to captain, in charge of Battery D, notorious for their rowdy behavior and for running through captains.
D Battery was a pretty wild bunch of Irish. They had 2 or 3 other captains, and none of them could handle them.
Vice President Harry Truman, who from here on will be President Truman, went immediately to the White House.
Inside in the historic cabinet, Vice President Harry S. Truman takes the oath of office as 32nd President, administered by Chief Justice Harlan Fisk Stone. Mrs. Truman is at his side. President Truman asks the full Roosevelt cabinet to remain in office, expressing his intention to carry on American policies as formulated by the Roosevelt administration.
Oh, as I've said before, filming in the museum is very
hard.
It's very hard. So we're watching these different films. So we've moved from, as I discussed before, where the war ended and the bomb was dropped. We moved into basically keeping the peace and
when East and West Germany
came about, the establishment of NATO and the Warsaw Pact, and all these things that Truman was influential in. So we're getting
Truman.
Oh man.
When he took office, they said that Roosevelt was the architect, but Truman was going to be the carpenter.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of heavy, weighty decisions during this time.
Poor man.
And wow, just can't imagine that. So anyway, we're going to sit here and watch this next show. And man, it's really well done here. So if you get a chance to see it, it's definitely worth coming by and seeing.
America's next president, Thomas E. Dewey.
The election in 1948 was over before it began. That's what all the experts said. The country was ready for a change, and that change would be New York Governor Thomas E.
You know about the famous newspaper when the media got out ahead of the election and predicts that Dewey defeats Truman. So they have a copy of one of those newspapers here. Everybody remembers that, so it's kind of funny to get a good chuckle out of it. Even back then they had a hard time getting it right.
Truman's approval rating, already below 30%, falls even lower.
So this section of the museum ends with Truman's farewell speech. And so we've been actually walking through time here with Truman. Pretty interesting, and we've had a good time.
It's a great library. It's different from when I was here a few years ago with Eddie, like 6 or 7 years ago. I think they've redone it, but it's worth the drive to it, I think.
We're going to move on to the next section here, Post-presidency, and see what they have there. Very well done. Well, like many presidents before, after Truman's stint in office, he laid down his power and returned back to Independence, Missouri. One of the docents here at the library told me that actually he could be seen here later in life coming down giving impromptu tours of his own library. So they joined their local church there. I believe it was the Trinity Episcopal Church, and we're quite active in that. And just this kind of depicts his memories of the hometown here in Independence, Missouri, as he returned back to just normal everyday life here in Independence. So down here on the lower level, they have some of Truman's cars. He was in love with Chryslers. So this is a Windsor sedan that Bess drove, that she liked that, and then he enjoyed the more sportier Royal Club coupe, and so they've restored these and got these in the basement here. So it's pretty fun looking, seeing what cars he had. What's this over here, hon?
This is one of his presidential fleet, and also they have a picture. Princess Elizabeth at the time rode in this with him with the top down.
How about that? So,
yeah.
Yep, got 4 cars here. Oh, I forgot to point out, down here is actually his dad's buggy from their farm that they had. So they actually have a lot of his transportation modes here. So you can see they got the buggy there. So yeah, it's really cool. We're having a good time.
So here in the inner circle of the building is, I wouldn't say it's a courtyard because it's really big, but behind me is Bess and Harry Truman's resting place. And across the sidewalk is Margaret and her husband's resting place. Anyway, I bet in the summertime it's really beautiful out here. But, yep, this is the spot. We found Bess and President Truman's home. They started living here when they got married in 1919. It was built by her grandfather, which
George Gates. He was a mill operator.
I think that's very interesting. Anyway, so they lived here from 1919 to 1953, and I'm not sure where they went till there after there, because President Truman lived to passed away in 1972, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, I was 12.
Yep.
So anyway, gorgeous house.
Probably became a national historic place at that time or whatever. I don't really know. We're speculating. They have a nice little audio tour here on your phone. You can scan a QR code and walk through town here. We're kind of hitting some of the highlights, but we thought we'd show you this, the Truman House here in Independence, Missouri. Truman called this the center of the universe.
And it is. I love this story. So behind me is Harry S. Truman's aunt's house, Ella, and across the street is where Bess Wallace lived. And so he saw the chance. His aunt had a cake pan that belonged to Bess's mom, and so Harry took it up on himself to return the cake pan so he could meet Bess. Then became Bess Truman. That's going to do it for us here at the Truman Library. I hope you enjoyed just a little snippet of what there is to do here.
I think we were here about 3 hours, something like that.
Yeah, because Ed likes to read everything. But they're still working on some stuff, so hopefully if you come, it'll all be done and you can enjoy it all.
They didn't have his office done, and there were some other things that the exhibits were closed. But man, it was fun and a beautiful day today.
Yes.
So,
blue skies.
Had a good time. Let's go back down here to the car and check on Herky. Hey, in the meantime, you catch us again on Sunday. We appreciate you watching our videos each week, and like and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of fun interacting with everybody, so thanks for watching.